Hey everybody, welcome to Simply Said. I hope you're enjoying your Friday. Hope you're going to have a safe, prosperous weekend. That would be great. So I want to do a quick video, okay? So I wanted to share something that was kind of interesting to me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who has experienced this, okay? So I referred someone, okay? As you know, I try to empower women. I want the best for all women that want to have something. I really want the best for all people that want to have something, okay? Male or female, okay? So I am not anti-male, not by any point measure. Definitely not anti-male. So, but I know in the African American community, Black women, if you're wanting to aspire, and this applies to men as well, you're not going to always get the support that you need. And I know in our community, the financial support is not necessarily there. Okay, that's a whole nother video. But I will say this here, it is important. It is so very important, male or female, to know. You need to know who's on your team, especially when you're starting a business. Okay, you have to know who's on your team. You have to. I remember when Amazon put this deal out, and I'm not praising a company because I've heard different stories about how they operate with people, different video. But I thought it was interesting. Years ago, they were like, hey, if you're not happy here, do us a favor, we'll pay you to leave. If you're not happy working here, we'll pay you to leave. Now, from what I understand, most folks ain't happy working there, but hey, you know, that's that. But the bigger picture, if you're a business owner, you're an aspiring business owner, you're a small business owner, you have to know who's on your team. If the person is not rooting for you, if a person is kind of slow and ignorant and they want to sabotage you, now, of course, the idiot hasn't figured out that you work there, dumb. If that company goes down or you sabotage it, guess what? You will be in, you're going to lose your job. Unless, you know, that's it. So some people can't even grasp that. Some people are really envious and jealous of others. I don't care if the business is a success or not. If you've only made $5, the idea that you have a business. And there was a lot of sacrifice involved. When you run a business, you got to pay those workers. You may not get paid, but those workers have to get paid. A lot of sacrifice. So you really have to know who's in your corner. If a person is not in your corner, if they're not trying to work hard to help you, if they don't want to follow instructions, I don't care if it is your brother or your mother, they're going to have to go, because guess what? You're going to fold. And let's be realistic. In our community, we're not one collectively, it's not a group where people just, praise business owners. Oh my God, you're going to have a business. Oh, that's great. It doesn't really happen that way, okay? The dynamics of the Black community were totally different when it's in comparison to other groups, okay? So, I'm going to kind of switch it up. This case here, let's say, in this case here, we have a realtor, okay? And someone wants to purchase a property. Now, a lot of our people, some people just don't get it, and maybe it's above their pay grade. You never know who knows who, okay? I know people that, hell, they're millionaires. I'm not, but they are. You never know who knows who. And sometimes I've noticed when you're a minority, and especially a Black person, it's sometimes hard to get to tell your own what to do. They don't want to follow the rules. And it's like, it's sad. I can sometimes understand why some people don't want to, some of our own don't want to hire Black people. I had a Black man to tell me, and he's a good friend of mine. He goes, I'm only going to hire a limited number. Because I was like, you're going to put some of your peeps to work. Awesome. He goes, only a limited number. And then, he told me why. And he's had a business before, and his dad. And I was like, it's so sad that the bad ones mess it up for the good ones. And he does, you go by your experiences. So in this case here, I'm like, here's a person who wants to buy a home. Money's not an issue, okay? So they want to buy a home. I know you don't have this clientele, but guess what? You can make it happen. You can make it happen, okay? So I know the person, and they're like, hey, you know what? And the woman I'm referring them to, she's a Black woman. Now she doesn't sell, on that level, but hey, you got to get a start somewhere. Sometimes an opportunity only comes one time. You got to grab it. They're not coming every day, and our folks don't get it. So they're like, hey, you know what? You know her? Of course I do. Okay, great. So what they're going to go ahead and do is, guess what? Give her a chance. We're going to buy from her. Okay? We're going to go ahead and buy from her. So I'm thinking, oh, that's just great. So I said, hey, did you go ahead and they'll send the information over to them? And let's get this straight. This woman and I, she's African American, the realtor, and she and I were not BFF. I may have just run into her twice, okay? But I thought, hey, you know what? Let me try and give her a leg up. This will be an opportunity where she can make some money. You can move up to a higher clientele. Because I know it can be challenging. A lot of people are buying houses, and guess what? A lot of them are not in the minority community like Black people, because a lot of our people are trying to keep what they've got. Let's understand that. The dynamics work way differently in this community, speaking collectively. A lot of our people are worried about being evicted. So buying a house, yeah, that's, not going to be a lot of the main focus. Many are trying to keep what they currently have or keep a roof over their heads. So anyway, so they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to go ahead and sign on with her. She can find us a house, blah, blah, blah. So what they're looking for is probably like, seriously, at minimum 5 times than what her typical client represents. So I'm like, hey, you know what? You can do this, that right there. You see a house that's maybe $1 million. You contact the person. You may have a buyer. I don't care how small you are. When they hear you may have a buyer, you've got their attention. I don't care if your behind is 19 years old. You've got a buyer, you've got their attention. They're into sales. So she happens to have, I guess, her assistant or a broker, what have you. I'm like, did you send the paperwork over what we discussed? Did you send that over? Oh, my assistant did. So it's been like maybe going on at this time 2 weeks, and there's no paperwork. I'm like, well, they're like, hey, have you gotten in contact with her? We haven't heard anything. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not good. So I'm calling and texting her. Okay, I'm getting the voicemail, leaving the voicemail messages. I'm also texting her. It's very important. I need the paperwork to kind of get things going. They said they didn't get it. We're not trying to hear check the spam folder. So I am able to. She does call me back on a Sunday, and I'm like, well, listen. Either you send it over or have your guy who's ever working with you, have him to send it over. What's his name? She goes, oh yeah, sure. So she even texts me his name and phone number, and he's an African American man. I speak with him. He came off okay. I'm like, yeah, we haven't gotten that paper. Can you go ahead and send it over? It's, we want to make sure that we can kind of get this going. Understand? I already sent it. I'm like, well, maybe you did, but can you resend it? Like, how about if you're in the office, and I call it, I'm doing the weekday. If you're in the office, go ahead, if you will, and send it like now, okay? Because I'm at my desk. So if you can send it right now, that'd be appreciated. Listen, that way I'll have it. I can send it to them. It's not a problem, but I want to make sure that we get things moving, because guess what? For some reason, they're saying they haven't gotten anything. And, they emailed you some information, okay? About some of the a property that they saw. So they want you to, see what you've got, send over what you're referring to them to look at, and they'll go from there. Okay? So he's like, yeah, I'll resend it. 24 hours passed, the whole day, no email. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? What's so hard about sending a darn email? What is so hard? So I called him again. Oh, I promise I'm going to send it within the hour. I promise. Here's the following day. I promise. No email. I'm like, well, why is this? What's a simple issue of sending an email? So I get on the phone with her. I'm like, yeah, listen, I hate to bother you. I don't know what is going on, but your assistant. I'm like, I've checked spam. I've checked everything. I know how to read. We haven't gotten an email, and this isn't looking good, because, now they're looking at me like, hey, what's going on? And the person said to me, this is not a good way to do business. Is now, and of course now it's egg on my face. They're like, maybe you need to have a conversation with her. you should, maybe it's time for you to have a conversation with her. And I'm like, sure. I said, I'll do that. Maybe it's maybe something's happened with the family. I'm not sure, but I will definitely be in touch. They don't know the head. I've already been in touch with her and her assistant, Mr. Tyrone. I've been in touch with them. So I look up and it's like, okay. I'm like, I told her, I said, listen, I don't know what the issue is, but this is something so simple. First of all, I'm not getting paid on this here, okay? I just introduced you to them, and going on my word, I'm not getting paid a dime, because I know in business, I hate to say this, my experience, you can help Black people all day long. They can go from zero, and I've experienced this. You can put 6 figures in their pocket, and they'll say thank you. They don't return a favor. They don't write you a referral fee. Our people, a lot of them just don't freaking get it. They don't do anything. You'll get a thank you, and that's it. I hate to say it. You do that to people of other races, man, they might give you some expensive champagne, and you look up, what is this? They've already given you a check. Oh, you did that work for me. You made this happen. You helped, and you're like, oh my gosh. No, I insist. With Black people, you don't have to worry. A lot of our people don't freaking get it. They don't get it. When I help somebody out and they got that kind of money, it was too funny. This guy, he says, yeah. So what is your associate? That they kind of break you off something? And I said no. And he said, you put $100,000 in that person's pocket. And I said, yeah. She said, thank you. And he was like, wow. I tell you, nobody would want to do business with that person again. He's like, I said no, and I said I didn't expect anything. It's no big deal. But I just knew then I'm dealing with a Black person, and I hate to say it, he's like, wow, nobody would ever do business with that person again. And he told me that a friend of his experienced the same thing with an African American person, and a friend was like, you know what, man, I will never do business with that person again. So a lot of our people don't get it. But this right here, so like I said, I already know the deal dealing with this group. Yeah, it's, that's what it is. But sometimes you do things because you want to help them try to make some money. So I contacted them like, hey, I don't know what the deal is. This guy you've got, we just have a small issue of sending an email. I don't know how you're gonna do business. I just don't know how. So she ends up doing it herself. Okay, and she sends it. So then I look up. I forward them the email, and I'm like, wow, this is taking up my time. I'm just putting the two together. I shouldn't have to do all this here. So I'm spending up my time trying to help her. Okay. But again, Tyrone refuses to send it. And I thought about it. I said, this woman doesn't get it. And I told her, I said, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your staff, but what I can tell you this here, this guy is really not on your team. I said, you're going to lose money dealing with him. You're going to lose money. I don't know what the relationship is. He's family from your church, but this is business. I said, it shouldn't take this long just to get an email. And with these people, money's not a problem. You have to understand that. Money's not a problem. So I'm like, I'm not trying to tell you to run your business, but you need to be on it. You need to so be on it. This is not, this is how I thought you wanted to make money. Okay, this is a different caliber than what you're still dealing with. These are not the folks at your church that need financing. So guess what? She still left it in the hand of Tyrone. And I'm like, is he your broker? What's going on with this here? I'm like, he's your assistant? What's going on? Next thing you know, I guess she felt some type of way, and she believes in her man. I look up. I contact the people that I know that I introduced her to, and they're like, it's so hard to get to even deal with a person. They said, did you have a talk with her? Hell, I've had several talks with this broad. I've had several talks with her. And so at that point, they were like, yeah, it's just not a good way to do business. And she, we've called her, and she doesn't seem interested. She doesn't? Yeah. They're like, do you think maybe you need to try talking with her again? So at this point, I'm like, no, I'm not putting my energy toward it. This is her business. I'm trying to help her. It's not my job. If you want to turn away money, that's you. So that right there, I sent her one text message and a voicemail. I'm like, hey, as a Black person, as African American female, I'm trying to help. So I said, I don't think you understand. This group right here, sweetie, money is not an issue. So I guess she really thought that I was just joking around with her. I still don't understand this. I cannot comprehend it. Well, the deal didn't go through. They sure as heck didn't buy anything from her. They told me when they spoke with her, she wasn't very pleasant. She seemed rushed, trying to, like she didn't want to be bothered. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so not happening, so not happening. And then the same thing, I guess the guy was supposed to call them. He never did. You never know who knows who. Okay, my apologies. Never again. And I guess I should have really vetted her, but I thought you're a businesswoman, you have to be intelligent. Yeah, she knew, I guess, it just didn't work. And I'm not going to hound somebody down again. I have my own business to run, okay? I have my own business to run. I've had people telling me, hey, you know what? Folks in West Palm Beach, you should get your real estate license. You're going to rake up, this person and that person. And I'm like, that's just not really what I want to do. And I'm already busy right now. Trust me. It's like I work, eat, sleep. And I love doing this, by the way. So guess what happened? Little mama, sister girl decided, I guess it wasn't important to her. I'm like, you haven't even pulled the fight. I'm like, I tried to tell her, I tried to help her. Well, she didn't have to listen to me because the guy, he already bought a house and it wasn't for him to live in. Actually, he and his wife, they already bought 2 darn houses in 2 weeks with someone else. You want to know how much they spent in 2 weeks on 2 houses? Over $2 million in paid cash. They wrote the check. They bought 2 houses within 2 weeks. And they're like flipping the houses. One was like 1.3. And so the other, I think they were asking like one and a, what is it? Maybe 1 and a quarter, somewhere around that area. And of course, it was a Caucasian realtor. 2 houses. He wrote the check. Over $2 million in 2 weeks. I tried to tell her, money is not a problem. We're not worried about some financing. Just this is what they're looking for. They saw this house. That's why they sent you the email. Can you respond back? What do you have for them to look at? So she and Tyrone can't get it together. Can't get it together. So I just thought it might be a teachable moment. I try to tell, after that, I said, I'm not going to call her again. And then I said, no, I'm going to go ahead and just call her back because she might need a hard lesson to realize you just messed up. You could have had a lot of money. These are not your typical clients that can barely get financing for a house around $200,000 and $300,000. These are not those people. And when I tried to talk with her, you know what I got? Well, he said he sent it, and that means he sent it. And that's when I knew that this Black woman, you won't get far in business. Look at the money you could have made. I'm just trying to help you up your game, girl. Put money in your pocket. The same people telling me, get a real estate license, you're gonna wake up. Come on, people, you're gonna wake up, you can make a lot of money. That's just not what I really want to do. They're like, oh, come on, a lot of people between West Palm and Naples, you love getting dressed up, getting dressed up and, going here and there and socializing. You love to do that. You're a friendly person, type of personality. You will rake up. You've got the contacts. Go get your real estate license. And like I said, that's not what I want to do. But this right here, I guess I was so pissed because I wanted to try and help her. And I could not. She seemed real defensive of her man, whoever he was, assistant or broken or whatever. If he said he sent it, he sent it. Wow, really? So just stop and think. A lot of our people don't understand. I'm going to have to call her Miss Dustina. It's really sad. Opportunities don't come every day. They don't. So she let her listen to her Dusty. I guess it was too hard to send an email. She didn't want to follow up. And you wonder why a lot of our people are at the bottom still struggling. Sometimes an opportunity comes once in a lifetime. I'm going to conclude with this right here. Networking is so important. If you're networking with people with less money, and that's fine. But anybody wants to elevate. Some people don't get it. You can meet people that can change your life. I just listened to a person who told me to do something maybe like 2 months ago, and I did it. I said, that makes sense. I'm going to do it. I tried it. I put in $7,000 of my money, and I said, I'm going to give it a shot and just see, because they're like, oh, yeah, here's what you should do. I said, I'm just going to give it a shot. I look up, I said, I'm going to go ahead and cash in. At $7,000 became $14,000 and a couple of $100. Why? Because I listened. Now the person telling me this, of course, this person is a millionaire. They're telling me this. I took a chance. I listened. So for some of you women, if you still believe in Tyrone or your king, that's okay. That's your choice. That's your right. And I respect that. But you have to be a fool to let a Dusty ruin your coins. Sometimes we have not because we think not. We don't think. Sometimes we have not because we don't listen. I'm only trying to help. So there's one thing about Blackistan. A lot of our people don't want to listen. You can't tell them anything. If you have them like that, leave them in the dust. Again, someone told me to do something, or here's what you should do, and I did it. And I thought about it. I was like, oh, I could have got more money. And I thought about, wait a second. That 7 became 14, I think like 14,300 or something within 2 months. I listen. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to try sometime. And I'm out. Thanks for watching. Look forward to your comments. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and share. Thanks.